Welcome to FilmDorks Podcast, brought to you by Screen Radar.
My friend.
I think we're about to embark on a most excellent podcast.
Triumphant.
Party on, dudes!
Such dorks.
You are.
Welcome
Welcome to FilmDorks.
Yep.
I'm Tom.
I'm Nick.
I'm Lucas.
Yeah.
We
Hi,
as
everyone.
the part of the gang. We're part of the gang.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
And
so
we're
yeah,
live.
Yep. Live streaming, and this is episode 4 of our time travel series. Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
And we are looking at a most triumphant franchise. Looking at
And
Bill
timely,
and,
of course.
yes, very timely.
Yeah, well
Bill
done.
and Ted, the Bill and Ted franchise, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and very recently, as in last weekend, Bill and Ted Face the Music. So we are going to talk about all of them. We're going to go in order. So if you haven't seen Bill and Ted Face the Music, I highly recommend you go. Well, you could go see it if you can. If not, spend the $19 and rent it. It's worth it. But we will review that at the end. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, you can watch up until we're about to reveal it. We'll let you know, and you can kind of tune out if you need to, because we probably will throw in a few spoilers, but we'll try to keep them light. That's the best we can say.
Also, our chat is live here. I'm actually monitoring it this time. Unfortunately, Kevin, I don't think ever made it work last time, so we will be able to respond directly to your chats. So please talk to us.
Yeah, so, the first thing, let's start off before we talk about the movies, and I'm going to throw this up on the Facebook here chatty window thing, and is our Who Would You Take On? Your most
Who's on your
excellent
team?
Adventure. Who's on your team? It's a Who's on your team, so let me put that up.
Yeah, who would you take on your adventure?
Figure it out.
So the concept, just to give some audio context, because we'll also be putting this out for podcasting, is that you have $15 to spend. And you can take a collection of the different characters from the different movies with you on an adventure. So you can find this game that was created by our very own Steve, our film reviewer and I guess Photoshop master. And so you can go on Screen Radar at our Twitter and our Facebook, and you can find the game. And we would love to hear your thoughts. I think I already posted my answer, and I guess we'll share ours at the end of the podcast today. Nick, I have to admit, I fucking dug yours, and we'll get into it later. But,
So play along. It's up on the screen there. Just take a look. It's also on our Facebook page. I can't seem to. I was going to try to throw it in the chat window, but I'm dumb. So if anybody who's smarter that's in our chat window,
no,
on
Nick
Facebook
said hi, gang.
I did say hi, gang. I figured that out. I was trying to put the pickup so they could look at it, but it's on Facebook if it can't get up in the comment window, and take a look at it and write your answers down, and comment and post them in the comments, and then we'll share our feedback.
We also got a few from Twitter and whatnot, but I think we're gonna have to hold off on sharing those till next.
Yeah,
time.
well, we'll share what we can.
We'll share what we can.
And we'll give some shout outs if you're able to play along. So we'll see how that goes.
Cool. So should we dive in and watch the trailer then?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's watch the show. Let's watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Bill, Ted, this is really quite simple. Unless you get an A+ on your final oral report tomorrow, I have no choice but to flunk the both of you.
Two epic airheads.
Who was Joan of Arc?
Noah's wife? We're in danger of flunking most heinously tomorrow, Ted.
One time traveling telephone booth.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
I'm here to help you with your history report.
What?
That book will give you the number of any place you want to go.
Let's reach out and touch someone.
Who knew history
2 beers, please.
could be such an excellent adventure?
Who's he? Billy the Kid. Don't worry, we'll bring you back here as soon as you talk at our report.
Socrates.
Philosophize with him. All we are is dust in the wind, dude. We are in most excellent shape for our report. Excuse me, do you know where there are any personages of historical significance around here? How's it going, royal ugly dudes?
Put them in the Iron Maiden.
Excellent!
Execute them.
Bogus.
Keanu Reeves.
Those are historical babes.
Alex Winter.
It's a history report, not a babe report.
Napoleon.
Ziggy Biggy.
Genghis Khan. Sigmund Freud.
How's it going, fruit dude?
Socrates. And Abraham Lincoln.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
All right. Yeah, I'll say that trailer just puts me in a good mood every time I watch it.
It puts a smile on your face.
Really?
It really does.
Yeah, it's fun. The trailer's fun, just like the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting because this movie had a bit of a rough road. The writers, Ed Solomon and who else is not in front of me?
It was Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson.
Yeah, they started out as a comedy team. They did improv and stand up and stuff like that. And this idea germinated from a bit of an improv routine that they would do as a duo on stage.
And you know, for a lot of it, they were just doing it by themselves. They didn't even have an audience. They were just throwing it. They rented out a space to rehearse, and they just came up with it on their own without even having any audience
Here's
feedback
a
at all.
photo of them, by the way.
But yeah, so and that's kind of how the idea of Bill and Ted germinated. And then, you know, they wrote the script, and it actually was kind of a hot product, had some buzz behind it, and it did get picked up, and it got shot in 1986. I believe it was shot in.
That photo, they look like David Koresh and Sensei Kreese from Cobra Kai there.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion.
I'll bring up a photo
that
again.
Booze and weed had something to do with this script. But
you think?
they shot it in 86, and when they were originally written, it was a van that they went back in time in, and they were two stoners. They did smoke weed in the script, that kind of thing. But they went back in the van, but then
No way.
The company was a little worried that it was like too much like the DeLorean in Back to the Future, so it turned into a phone booth. And it certainly got a little more innocent, I think, through rewrites and studio company notes. But it did get shot in 86, and then the company went under, and the film got shelved for I don't know how long was it?
Years. Yeah, Warner Brothers had optioned it first, and they let go of it before they shot it. But yeah, then it got shot, and it sat in the shelf for like a year and a half or something like that.
So here I put up the shot of the two guys doing the comedy routine. Yeah. So they would do this on stage and as part of like a comedy act.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of Wayne's World, because I think that's kind of how he started out, was like creating that character.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah. So it did get picked up by one of my producing heroes, Dino De Laurentiis, who also has saved and/or given us many a favorite franchises. The franchise that this whole fucking website and everything is built off of, which is Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
But we won't get into that now. We'll get into it when we deal with Evil Dead. But yeah, he's done a lot of he's picked up a lot of stuff that maybe other companies felt were it was a little risky, or just kind of, he had an eye for that culty catch.
He had an eye for the pulse, I think, of where things were going, not specifically where things were.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. And he picked it up, and it was distributed and released in 1989.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, when I was about 12 or 13 or so when it came out, and first of all, it was written for, I felt like it was written for me. Like I went to the theater. I'm like, well, this is written for me and my friends. This is clearly specifically for us. But also, we couldn't get in. It was like 2 weekends in a row. It was sold out.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big. I mean, granted, they weren't the cinemas that there were now. Like the most you had was like 6,
True.
in the multiplex. But it was hard to get into for this film.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because I remember seeing it in the theater and with my
Me too.
next door neighbor, one of my best friends, kid Craig Donnelly, who was like a year older than me. I was 11, so he must have been 12, like around your age as well. And the movie was insane. But we saw it definitely not opening.
18.
You were 18?
I was 18. I think I saw it opening weekend. I was 18 years old, living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and working at the 3rd largest meatpacking plant in the country.
This movie was made about you. No, but like it's interesting to hear how you interpreted it, because at 11 years old it was like the greatest comedy I'd ever seen. Yeah. But I was 11.
Yeah,
so.
I was like 18. I think I was.
Did
18
it speak
years
to you
old at the time? I loved it. Sure, it spoke to me. If I was 18, I just turned 18. It was early in my 18, which is a long time as compared to now.
What about you, Tom? Did you watch it in the theaters?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't recall the actual experience of it. I just recall seeing it and instantly loving it. And as far as that goes, it seems like the audience loved it in general a lot more than the critics did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it didn't get great reviews. Not that I really cared when I was a kid.
Yeah.
If you go now, it's got good reviews, but back when it came out, it was
panned as sophomoric and juvenile and all that stuff.
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert actually kind of liked it, if I recall.
I would love to check that real quick.
Ebert may have liked that. I don't know.
I think Siskel had his issues with it overall, but I think Ebert really enjoyed it. That tends to be the case for most of the film reviews.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ebert is like, we should have a whole episode just on movies Ebert liked that nobody else liked. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Well, he did give some movies a huge push. He was huge. He was the reviewer of the time, I think. Well, the two of them, but if one of them or both of them liked a movie that was generally critically panned, it certainly helped those movies. So
yeah. So what had Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter done previously?
Interestingly,
to this
I
film?
think if time serves me correctly, it was shot in '86. So this must have been the first feature film, at least his first starring film. He had done, I think, a little TV, some commercials, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But at '86, he hadn't done much.
Are you talking about Alex Winter or Keanu?
Keanu. River's Edge came out. Not to diss Alex Winter, he's fucking awesome. Keanu, River's Edge came out in '88. He did another movie that was smaller than that. I can't remember the name of it. It was about teen suicide. It was actually really good. So was he. He's incredible in River's
Lost
Edge.
Boys. Alex Winter was in Lost Boys, and he came out in '87. But again, if this was shot in '86, it would have been shot before it.
Right. So that, they were both kind of breaking at about the same time.
Yeah, because I do feel like I saw Keanu before this movie, but that's because it was released later than stuff that he had filmed. That makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, River's Edge, by the way, like if people have not seen River's Edge and you're a Keanu Rivers fan,
unbelievable.
If you haven't seen Lost Boys, you need to see this one. I think River's Edge is. I rewatched that one maybe like a few years ago, but my God, it was actually like even better and more crazy than when I remembered seeing it. Partly because I think all of us grew up.
You think that this car runs on God's own methane?
That's right, because we're gonna do.
You would do that, wouldn't you?
We're gonna do a Crispin Glover mega episode where we go every single one of his films, because goddamn is he great. But River's Edge,
Keanu was in Dangerous Liaisons, which came out the year before.
Okay.
Which was a pretty big film.
Whoa.
It's huge, actually.
So, yeah, and then but he started off with a bang, because right after Bill and Ted, then he had Parenthood.
He's so good in Parenthood too.
With,
same character. He's Bill. Yeah. He's Ted again in Parenthood, but yeah.
Yeah, he's great in all those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one of the best scenes in that whole movie with the whole
that's what little dudes do.
Yeah. You need a license to catch a fish.
You need a license to drive.
I thought you were talking about the jerk off scene where he's like, I just told him that's what little dudes do.
With a young Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes,
Phoenix
that's right.
As well.
So yeah, what else about this film? Because I know that it, not only was it like iconic, and now it's celebrated as this huge film, it spawned like crazy shit, right?
It did. It spawned animated series, 2 seasons of an animated series, and then a toy line based on the animated series.
Because all right, let me ask: did you own the toys, Jeff?
I did not. I was old enough. That's what's funny about this franchise is that I was, like I said, I felt as if it was made for my demographic, but we were older than the toy demographic at that point.
Well, by the way, I have a clip that Jeff sent me of the toys if we want to watch it.
Go ahead.
We can comment on it. All right,
yeah,
here it is.
Let's take a look, because I've never seen
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I'm Bill S. Preston Esquire, and I'm Ted Theodore Logan in concert.
This is where things get a little weird.
Speaker connects to figures and most cassette players to make figures play music.
Now a drums, that bodacious barbarian Genghis Khan. Yeah, our new pal. Excellent. Let's rock and roll.
Squeezing their legs gets them jamming.
Squeezing their legs gets them jamming.
Excellent Adventure.
Party on, dudes.
Wow. I bet squeezing their legs does get them jamming.
It gets me jamming.
Yeah, it gets jam everywhere.
There's also I also found a McDonald's commercial. Like, you want to see how lame this freaking commercial is? Watch this shit.
We have here a major casa, home of seriously rich dudes. Now, I know rich dudes have the most excellent manners. If we ask politely, well, they're sure to invite us in. Yo, seriously, rich dudes! May we come in and see your most excellent stuff?
McDonald's.
Not him. Must have gone to McDonald's for an apple pie or something.
What the fuck is that? Anyway, they were trying to like cash in off of the Bill and Ted's thing, but like not make it Bill and Ted's.
So they made.
It looks like he's doing an Anthony Kiedis impression too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like Anthony
his
Kiedis
younger brother
and Ted had
Joey Kiedis.
That might have happened. I mean,
Teddy Kiedis.
The toys were based on the animated series, which was produced by Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, I have that.
The three of them did the voices. Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, and George Carlin all did the voices for
season 1.
First season.
Oh no shit.
The second season, Hanna-Barbera dropped it, and DIC, they produced a ton of cartoons in the 80s. They picked it up, and they cast the actors who played them in the live-action Bill and Ted, which was also a thing. A horrible thing.
It
only lasted like half. Yeah, it was a live action.
It didn't even last the whole season, right?
No.
I don't even remember that.
Do you guys want to see do you guys want to watch the sitcom? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's Evan Richards, Christopher Kennedy, and then the late comedian Rick Overton played Rufus.
Right.
But yeah,
I had no idea that
Rick
this
Overton,
existed until doing research.
Yeah, he's not dead though.
He is now.
Not dead.
He is now.
We're coming
Heller
for
just
you.
killed him.
No, I'm Facebook friends with him. He's good.
Oh, sorry, dude. We didn't mean to kill
He's just
you.
late for our podcast.
Oh, by the way, we have Julie says, "Hi, Jeff, Daddy." I think his daughter's online.
That's me.
So it's
Either
best
that or
behavior, Jeff.
They live in the South.
On that note, let's watch this.
Part of the summer season on Fox, and also coming this summer, 2 dudes who made history with their first 2 major motion pictures. Now, Bill and Ted are coming to television in a weekly series of bodacious adventures.
I don't know who you are, but you too will die.
Will not.
Will too.
They've been given the awesome ability to travel to the past.
Ted, give him Marcus Zorro. Excellent.
To witness the events that changed our world.
We're going to Woodstock. Yeah, dude. With my dad.
And reach out and touch great warriors.
Good luck, King Arthur, dude.
Famous scientists.
Check out his hair. Wicked do.
Legendary ladies' men.
Yes, no. We're about to party with the love god.
And even kings.
I live, dude. You live.
With a whole world at their fingertips, these 2 dudes will make history come alive. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. Coming soon. The summer season on Fox, where the new stuff never stops.
The dude looks like
The new stuff never stops.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the?
Except after 6 episodes. Canceled.
Hold on, I'm gonna find the cartoon. I forgot to load it into the computer. So talk amongst yourselves about that pile of shit.
Muted.
Thank you, Tom. Please give my apologies to Rick Overton and my condolences to Rick Document. So family.
Okay.
Got your peeps mixed up.
My comedian dicks are.
You cross the streams,
yeah,
buddy. You cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously they, spawned this huge franchise, which is
it was a huge
became
hit.
a franchise.
It was a huge hit.
Then how long did it take before the second one got greenlit? Do you think they did it like right off the bat? Because it got made a couple years later?
They were talking about it immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
I think it was pretty quick. Oh,
yep, we lost
the second Heller froze.
They were talking about it, but the original. Are we good now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep. Now. Okay. It was immediate, and the script that Warner Brothers wanted. They wrote two scripts. Had two pitches at least. One of which was basically a rehash of the first one. They have to pass a like an English test or something like that, and they go back. They go into literature, which is what the second season of the animated series was about, by the way. So they go into like Romeo and Juliet and a bunch of other stuff, and they didn't want to do that. So instead, Keanu actually convinced the studio to go with they go to hell and heaven and meet aliens and stuff. But the studio wanted nothing to do with it. But Keanu was basically, we'll walk if we don't do this version. So that's how it got made.
Whose idea was that, though? Was it the writer's idea?
Yeah. It was Solomon and
they didn't want to go in that literature direction.
Yeah. They pitched both ideas, but they weren't really sold on the literature one.
Right. Got you.
Wait, so God, that does sound really milquetoast. Like they'd essentially just do like, which is what they used to do with sequels, though. It would be like, we just want the same one. Just do the same movie again.
And I'm glad they didn't.
And
like there's no
more
historical
Napoleon
figures in Bogus Journey.
More Napoleon and more Billy the Kid and more Socrates.
Right.
Yeah, but let's go deeper. Yeah, let's get some funnier characters from. Let's do literature. Yeah, it would have been that actually would have been a shitty sequel.
Instead they came up with the most absurd sequel ever made, and it's glorious.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We got to talk about it because
Bogus Journey. Let's watch the trailer.
All right, we're gonna watch the trailer. This is where we're gonna. Oh, Tom, you go, and then I'm gonna.
Well, just back it up for a sec, because this is the time travel podcast, and we haven't even talked about the time travel part.
Oh, good call. Thanks, Tom.
Good call.
And I will say this as the closest thing to a time travel expert in the group. Doesn't make sense at all.
No,
you can't think about it for more than a second.
No, because the clock is ticking. Supposedly, like as soon as you land another one, the clock is ticking in the in the past or future. So
in
you're
your time,
But you can always go back to any time anyway, so it negates the whole like as if that's a concern.
They also have the theory that if they decide to do it in the future, it will already happen. So like the keys to the jail cell.
Yeah,
like we have to remember to go do it in the future, and then suddenly they're there. Because they decide to do it later on.
I did when doing research. Supposedly they had filmed, or at least in the script was when they were doing their big presentation at the end. You were going to see them on the lights. So in other words, they went back in time afterwards to operate the lights, which would have been really cool and actually would have made sense for time travel.
Very Back to the Future 2-ish.
Yeah.
That really does make sense because like
how did they do that production?
It was kind of a question of like how did they put this on?
Mm-hmm.
Like not just getting the people there, but like there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on there too.
Yeah. But also one of the things that's never addressed is if they're going back in time and interacting with historical figures, bringing them into the future. So these people went back and just were like, "That was a fun trip. Now let's get back to like whatever I was doing." And
they never wrote about it or had
right.
any kind of a like meltdown in their brain because they just went to the future.
Like Abraham Lincoln didn't go to the theater that night, maybe, or like had a little extra security detail. Anyway,
for a time travel movie, it's probably the least concerned with actual time travel than any other time travel movie.
But we talked about this with comedies,
and so is the audience. We don't care at all.
Yeah, I mean, the movie basically tells you not to care.
Right.
I mean, and it's kind of, I mean, if it were a cartoon, it would be Beavis and Butthead do time travel.
Right.
Yeah,
for the most part, you're right.
I mean,
the only difference between
they're more innocent than Beavis.
I don't think we'd have Beavis and Butthead if we didn't have Bill and Ted.
Ooh, interesting.
Right.
I like that premise.
Yeah,
I honestly don't think we would. Like,
but I'll tell you, one of the things I like about Bill and Ted though is that they are like lovable goofballs. They're kind, right? Like they're good guys.
Right.
And so even like the reason why we love Beavis and Butthead is because they're fucking jerks. You know?
Yeah.
And like so it's there, you know.
they're even stupider.
Yeah, and there's reasons to love both of them. But like the Bill and Ted's franchise, one of the things that's really great, and when we get to the second and then third one, we can talk about this, is like they're lovable goofballs. Where like you're rooting for them because they're good people.
Right. Let's move on to two.
If you really
Let's
want
move on to two for
up,
time's sake.
I was just gonna say, if you really want to dork it up, their D&D sort of characteristics would be like neutral good, whereas like Beavis and Butthead would be like neutral bad.
Yeah. Or
true. Totally. Let's watch Bogus Journey, man. Let's watch the trailer.
By the way, Shout Factory advertisement.
I have a feeling we're about to embark upon a most unprecedented expedition.
Once they made history.
I must see to it that you die.
Now, they are history. Bill and Ted are dead.
Welcome to hell.
It's the Grim Reaper, dude. How's it hanging, Death?
But they're having one hell of a time.
This is not what I expected this place to look like at all. We got totally lied to by our album covers, man.
Taking in the sights.
Not bad, dude. We totally knew a guy got one of those in his bucket of chicken.
Making new friends.
Excuse us, dude, but is there any way we can get back?
You may challenge me to a contest.
J7.
You have sunk my battleship.
Excellent!
Best 2 out of 3.
What?
Enjoying the family.
No way!
Invading the present.
I totally possessed my dad.
Battling the future.
You're metal, dude! Excuse us, but your shoes are untied. Can't believe we just melted death!
And meeting their maker.
Guy, congratulations on Earth! Not to mention your other great planets. Mars, Jupiter, Uranus.
It's the comeback of all time. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. It's a trip.
Best of 7?
Damn right!
Ah, dude! Left hand red.
Ah! Yeah!
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, I watched that again last night, probably since the 90s. Like, that was the last time I watched that one.
The trailer or the movie?
The movie. I had to rewatch it.
I haven't. Here, and I'm going to admit this, but when I first saw Bogus Journey, I wasn't that into it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but it didn't really hit me like the first one. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I watched it again, a week ago with my son, and it's fucking awesome. It's just so fun and ridiculous.
I'm glad it was made, because it would never without the first one, you never would have gotten the second one, which is I don't think as good of a film. It's not as tight, but there's elements of the second one that are even better and more insane and more interesting and more artful than the first one.
It obviously is a higher budget.
The effects are insanely good.
Yeah, they do a great job with it. And there's just when you on second viewing, everything hit me. I laughed through the whole damn thing. It was just ridiculous. It's absurd. It's just it's super fun. Yeah. And they're more than happy to break a great handful of rules, but do it with aplomb, and it's a blast. It's more fun than the first movie.
It's a super fun movie.
It looks better than the first movie.
Insanely stupid though. It's so dumb, but it's so great.
Yeah, totally ridiculous.
It looks better, but at the same time, there's like it's so much cleaner and tighter. Like the outfits that they wear, they almost seem like they're like a comic book outfit.
I love Keanu Reeves' jacket with the smiley face.
Not bad, but yeah.
No, but you bring up that the
which one? Oh, the behind the scenes stuff.
The writer stuff.
Oh, the writer stuff. You mean? I gotcha. You mean the? Yeah, this is interesting.
Ed
actually,
Solomon did a Reddit Q&A the other day, and he brought some stuff up. And one interesting thing about Station at the end was Station was a mistake. They were drunk and they were writing, and Station was a mistake, and probably Final Draft or whatever screenwriting software there, where it was like
they had to remove like 25 pages, so they deleted
police Station, but Station was on the next line, so they deleted that thing, and Station was in the script, and then they just started saying it like a weird Martian, and were like cracking each other up so much that it became Station in the film,
which is amazing.
Yeah. It's really funny. There's a lot of great stuff too if you go on Reddit.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit just so people can see, because for the audio podcast, this is what Ed Solomon said on a Reddit interview. He said, "We named the Martian Station because of a typo. We were so punch drunk. Let's be real, like sure, punch drunk guys. It was 3 a.m. and we were begrudgingly doing studio notes, and we just cut out an entire sequence we loved at the police station, which I think was like 25 pages or something. But some reason I left the word station left over from interior station day. And if you've ever used Final Draft, like that's what happens is like that's your intro to the scene. And so it just kicked up, station was left, and then so he said we were totally fried. We just started like station, and we decided no matter what happens, we're gonna have a Martian named Station, and worse, we're gonna dig our heels in on it. So literally, like, think about this shit.
And
dude.
They did.
They were like, that was what they like. You know, writers, you got to fight for everything, right?
Gonna dig our
and they
heels.
fucking died on the hill of Station, and it's truly one of the best parts of. And rewatching it now, you see like characters are saying it throughout the whole film, leading up to Station. Like they plant it and they say it over and over again, and then it like and then it finally pays off. It's crazy, dude. Hold on, let me. There's
How
also
about William Adler in this movie? Holy moly!
Hold on,
William Sadler.
Sadler.
Well, Western New York native. For you peeps that are in Western New York, he is from there. Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah,
amazing in this fucking movie. He's so good.
By the way, we have these other.
Sometimes
that's for Face the
like
Music.
Almost all the scenes he's in.
Dude, it's insane how good he is. Like, so rewatching it, my thoughts were, it feels like a lot of bits strung together. Like they thought of some really cool scenes. So the pacing is not nearly as tight as the original. And the original, you can tell they copied like, the idea of the time is moving at the same time. So they had this, there was this sense of urgency, right? So you're constantly like, we had this deadline to hit. And then when it came to this one, there was no real urgency in the script. And you can tell the pacing is really like off. And so unless you're like a fan of the series, and honestly, just hanging out with these guys is so fun. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you talk about momentum in a script, this is not the first one. It doesn't have that momentum.
That's what I mean. They break a ton of rules.
But then they get with Death, and like honestly, like that is the best character in the entire trilogy is Death.
Oh, totally.
There's one scene in this movie that makes me piss myself when they're in hell, and Bill calls. Bill calls Satan a fag. You can never get away with it today.
No dropping the F-bomb. No, but like...
but it's funny. No, and the time and place that movie came out, it was perfectly
It's not just that. You couldn't get away with it. The entire film is irreverent and weird in that regard too, though. Like,
but there's this weirdness like that. Like, and the costumes they're wearing when they're in heaven and talking to God, they look like little Bo Peepers. It's just,
when
Death is dressed up like guys that are sneaking in. It's just the stupidest shit.
It's so stupid. It
definitely and the fact that Death becomes their sidekick essentially.
Yeah.
After them beating it, it's so stupid.
No, I know.
Their relationship with Death is amazing, and they even improve on it in Face the Music, which
we'll get into in a second.
Yeah. My favorite line from Death is when they're doing the Twister thing there, and he says, they ask him best out of 7. He goes, damn right.
Yeah,
damn right.
No, that whole sequence with him is like insane.
Like
the movie,
it's super funny.
The movie almost like becomes this. Yeah, it brings itself to another level once Death gets involved.
Yeah, once they go to hell, it totally does. It's just like, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen. And that's what I mean. It just you kind of band and let go, and you just have a ton of fun on this ridiculous ride that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't like it as much when I was younger is because this is a time travel series we're doing. It's why we included this one, and that was the issue that I mean that was the thing that for me I was not as excited about because I like sci-fi time travel stuff, and that's what I loved about the first one. And I felt a little cheated. I think when I was
think
younger.
that might have been part of my response too. It's like, wait, like I thought they were time travel guys, you know,
and
like
especially since they shoehorn them saving the world, which we find out doesn't really happen, but they're big. They change the world with their music is shoehorned in at the very end of the film, and it doesn't really fit in with the rest.
It doesn't even really work.
It fits in with the end of Excellent Adventure, but not with this one.
And we'll talk about 3 because they finally stuck the landing. But so for the end of this one, first of all, when you see the future, utopians are boring as fuck. And I don't like the Bill and Ted's future. I'm like, if that's what these guys bring on, kill the motherfuckers. Like, I do not want to live in a world where people dress like that and everybody's so like happy and getting along. Not my cup of tea, guys. Like, so the Bill and Ted's future is awful.
You're a grumpy Jew.
Yes, I'm a grumpy Jew. Where do we get to be in the future? We have to wear fucking neon.
You
don't want to wear those school outfits like with the giant baseball caps and stuff.
No. Seriously, so like, but it's funny that like the more you explore that future, the worse it gets. Like you don't really like, but you know, so I was kind of on the fence with, and especially rewatching it again, I was like, oh god. And then at the end, I was like, let's be real. If you're gonna do a live broadcast around the world, you're not gonna get fucking world peace. Like you saw all these people like happy and dancing. I'm like bullshit. Like watching it now, I'm like, there's no way you're beaming into somebody in Iran and they're like, this is the best song you ever heard. And it's like, by the way,
it's Kiss.
Kiss soundtrack though that I owned the Bogus Journey soundtrack when I was a kid and I fucking loved it. It was
great music on there, but
the song, great soundtrack.
Yeah,
like they all do. Yeah, honestly, all of them, including the new one. But yeah, that one has like a.
That was the second CD I ever bought.
It had to be
Bogus
Kiss.
Journey.
That's the Kiss who unites the world. Like, come on.
Well, MTV actually, the music was so important to this one that MTV had a premiere party.
And which
all the bands they had behind the scenes. Kurt Loder and Pauly Shore was there, who actually auditioned with Alex Winter for the first one. And it was this total MTV extravaganza.
Would you like to watch a clip from it?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's see it. You should play.
First of all, Bill and Ted live in their own place. They work at a place called Pretzels and Cheese. They're still with Wild Steins. And there's this evil presence in the future named Denomalos who wants to have an alternative present. So what he does is he sends back evil robots to affect a change in a moment in the film, which is Battle of the Bands.
That's awesome.
Dude, Primus was in this.
So he knows that on a certain day at the Battle of the Band in San Dimas, California, Bill and Ted will make a speech that will create the legacy that will be his future.
St. James. Yeah.
Evil robot versions of you.
He was in the movie. That's the thing. I think there's so much great music in here, and they choose to use fucking Kiss.
We're back from it.
It upsets me.
But anyway, so not to keep like bitching
they
about
recast
it.
the princesses too.
Yeah. Well, so should we get into the third one then to kind of bring us into Face the Music?
So just so you know, like we're not. Our timing is a little off, just while people are watching us. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
there's a delay.
There's a delay. So, but so yeah.
Should we jump into the next one, which is Face the Music, the finale?
Yeah, I think so, because this one has no time travel to talk about anyways.
No, you're right. And there was rumors about
it is interesting though, if you think about it, that the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure never said anything about time travel in the title, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey,
right? That's true.
Like, you know, it's not Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 2.
It's just like you expected
in a strange way.
And
they're
I'm
not
glad
really
we didn't
bound
get it
by like that kind of a rule, and they don't follow a lot of rules anyway. So that's just another example of it.
Right, that's true. I mean, they don't, and these movies still get made and are huge successes, you know. And so now we have a third one, but that's 29 years after the sequel, the second one, Bogus Journey.
And Keanu Reeves at this point has become an A-list celebrity. Alex Winter has become a successful documentary filmmaker and director.
Which we will talk about. Do you ever see his Freaked movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pull that. I'm gonna find that trailer.
Keanu's also in the cast of it.
Yeah, plays Dog Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keanu's in the
But,
movie.
But anyway, you're right. So Keanu Reeves is like megastar. So how did this finally get made? Like, because this
honestly, Alex Winter said that people were just always asking him about it, and then it came up on Twitter, and people were starting to piece things together. Like they're kind of making up their own conspiracy thing about how they're making it.
Wasn't Gus Van Sant on to direct at some point and then off, and then they had like.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
I don't know. There was some weird directors.
Roman Polanski was going to do like a real dark version.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding you. There was like all these like crazy
David
directors.
Fincher's Bill and Ted's.
Right. No, but Ed Sullivan and Chris Matheson and Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves kind of got talking, and they're like, we should kind of do this. And they all had they kind of talked about an idea, and they.
Nope. He paused.
Bye, he time traveled again.
Yeah. He's You're jumping in and out there, but that's okay. So yeah.
So let's watch it.
I think too, like there was a lot of talk, a lot of like, Keanu got the same, people always wanted to know, and I think they probably got together with the writers and they're like, well, let's do this, like we can make this happen. And it's one of those things you really worry about. But let's play the trailer and then
we'll play the trailer. But I think also it's the idea that didn't Apple pay for this? Like, was it on Apple? Who paid for it? Anyway, one of the streaming services.
Jeff Bezos, he pays for everything now.
One of the streaming services paid for it. Somebody paid for it because it, honestly. All right,
no, it was George Soros.
Yeah,
that's my boy.
25 years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world. 1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! Take it from ourselves!
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but that's cool.
Well, I'm sad I missed watching it with you guys because
I didn't watch it with you guys. I watched it with my son, who has become a huge fan of the franchise.
Well, so wait, is this his first time watching it through?
No, he watched Bill and Ted, both of them last year, and he really liked both of them. He watched one with me, and then he watched Bogus Journey on his own.
Well, how old is he at this point?
9.
Awesome.
Oh my God! So he's like the same age that when we first saw it.
So it's great. He really loved this one.
Yeah. Well, that's let's maybe do a quick recap from all of us, our opinions on it.
Yeah, well, okay.
I was gonna say, like, watching it together with some people for the first time, like in a while. Like, I mean, it wasn't a huge crowd or anything, but like, theaters are closed. Like, groups are not happening. Like, it felt super good to watch, like a really fun, wholesome, funny movie that was fun to watch, and like, not really care about like analyzing critical details and science and blah blah blah. Like, it was just fucking fun, and I laughed out loud legitimately like a bunch of times, and I had a great time watching this movie.
Yeah, this movie,
happier.
It was a blast.
It was so much fun, and when you think about like when we're talking about sequels, right, and there's so many things being remade or sequels coming up, and and you're kind of like, I'm really not thinking this could possibly be that great. Like, how are they going to really make this work after, the first two, 30 years later, and they fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely
nailed it. This is my favorite Bill and Ted movie.
Yeah, they hit it out of the park.
That's a bold statement.
I'm telling you.
I don't
It's all
think I
good,
could say
man.
I like it more than Excellent Adventure, but I don't like it less than Excellent Adventure.
Right. I would say that. I would put it on par. I mean, they're all great, and it really brings them. What this movie does is it takes the best of the first one and the best of the second one, throws it together in that same haphazard, crazy, like, you know, anything could happen way. The opening sequence at the wedding, I almost cried when they played the song.
By the way,
amazing.
Missy?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a running joke through all of them. And it's so I can't believe I didn't think that they would have that in there, and it was one of my favorite little like side gags in it.
There's a ton of fan service in this film. However, it doesn't feel like that's what they were
like
doing.
Part of it, yeah.
Right.
You know, it doesn't feel like they were.
They added some new elements. Like again, we don't want to get too much away, but their relationship with their wives, especially in the beginning, there's a sequence. I was laughing so hard when they were analyzing their marriages together and what it was hysterical.
Yeah, the therapist lady was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole cast in this movie is actually really great. Like,
yeah.
Everybody
it's
brings
one of the best casts I've seen in a while.
Everybody brings their A game. And they managed to take some of these really new and kind of peripheral characters. You know, it might have been nice to see a little more with the daughters, but they certainly interplay the daughters in there really well.
Enough. I thought it was enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And their dad, Ted's dad, actually has a slightly bigger role in this one.
I'm so glad they brought Ted's dad back, which was
awesome.
Right? The daughters, my critique when I was first watching it was, I was like, I kind of wish they didn't just do an impression of Bill and Ted.
Me too.
Like
I kind of wish they were a little smarter, actually.
Yeah, I was like, they didn't have to do that.
I love technically that's the thing. They were
smart. I guess you're right, but they were still
super
that valley
smart.
But you know, they didn't spend any time to even just one or two scenes for us to at least get to know them as real people. But that's the most criticism I can give to that because they were there to serve a purpose.
And they did. And they served it well.
And if you realize in the second one, they introduced Little Bill and Little Ted, which were supposed to be boys, and the fact that they flipped that was cool. So that was like
knowing their daughters,
kind of a retcon.
Yeah.
It was good. It was smart, man. Like those are the things.
That's the thing. There's like way more smart moments in this script than it seems like because it's so silly and stupid.
Yeah.
But the way they tie things together through the franchise, make this work, completely pull it off, bring back a bunch of characters,
which is great.
Yeah, and Death again. Incredible in this movie.
Oh my god, he steals the show again.
The reunion scene between them, he's unbelievably funny.
So what's the actor's name? Because I'm flaking on it. He's in like
William
everything.
Sadler.
Has he done any other comedies besides this series? Because he's so
a lot
fucking
of dramas,
funny.
Shawshank. I mean, he's been a lot.
That's what I mean. He's
been in a ton of stuff, but he's generally
a journeyman. He's in everything, and but. He's so goddamn good in his humor. It's like so serious and
I love it. Their relationship was a natural evolution from where Bogus Journey left off.
Yeah,
totally.
But in an absurd way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was completely. It's just completely ridiculous. And like that's the thing. This movie kind of builds on itself. The plot doesn't really get going for a little bit.
No, and I tell you, I was on the fence
because
you guys love this thing, but I was on the fence 2/3 of the way through. I was like, "Do I love this movie?" I'm laughing. There's things that are enjoyable, but I was like, "Where are they going with this?" Because I don't know if I'm really like, if they fuck this up at the end, I'm gonna hate this film. And they stuck the landing so fucking perfectly that everything that came before worked. Like if they hadn't done it right,
sense.
Yeah, and it actually what it did is not only stuck the landing for this movie, it wrapped all three of them together. Like it was.
I know
it's so rare to watch.
We've been talking about other franchises.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I don't know how you'd probably argue with me, but I don't feel like Back to the Future 3 did that.
I hate to agree with you, but I do.
And don't get me wrong, it's a fun movie to revisit. But it's not nearly the first two. And it doesn't really bring the whole franchise together in the way you might hope. This fucking movie does it.
Yeah.
And Terminator 3 for shit sure didn't.
No.
What are you talking about?
No, not at all. not even close. It took the franchise so far off the rails it will never get back.
So it was nice too. George Carlin's daughter in real life, her name is Kelly. So his daughter in the movie was Kelly, Rufus's daughter, and
no way.
George Carlin's real daughter Kelly had a small role in it as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
So, well, do you know what?
I thought they did it.
But she was played by Kristen Shaw. One of my.
Who's always
favorite.
good. I'm always happy to see her in a film. She's funny as hell.
They were supposed to. I like.
Karen also on Facebook.
I was thinking for a second.
Hold on a second. On Facebook, Karen said the parent-child relationship thing totally changed in this movie, and that's
I think
true.
She's right.
Like there was a with just the way they handled the parent-child relationship between Bill and Ted and their daughters, and then the whole come around with Bill's father.
Right.
That the way they brought that together, where like the parents started listening to the kids, which was a lot different than those 80s movies, and like that way that they told stories back then, which was cool. Totally cool.
Yeah, that turnaround point, like I didn't really see that coming, and I was happy to see that because it like really started the chips falling to bring everything together towards the end there.
Right.
And I mean,
Rufus, I'm sorry, Tom. Yeah. They George. I like how they brought George Carlin into
I did too.
They were supposed to, in the original script, they were going to go back to the Circle K, and they were going to interact with themselves again.
Oh, like a third time
with Rufus.
Yeah, third time with Rufus, and they're going to use a combination of stock footage and or B-roll that they hadn't used and CGI. For Rufus, but they didn't have the time or the money to pull it off. So that's
one thing you could tell. This one didn't have a monster budget.
It was only 25.
It used it to a spectacular.
But that was one of my criticisms. Watching it was like there was moments where I was like, the green screen looks like it's a TV show. Like it doesn't even look Hollywood budget quality of when they're in the future.
even the like futuristic backgrounds are like pretty devoid of any detail or people or action.
But that's what you get with a comedy where you don't care. You're like, I see that, cares? And I'll just like look past it because the sequences when they were like in the future with the prison cells, like I just love that they kept meeting themselves. Like the fact is, you love Bill and Ted.
The Mastodon beatdown, where like they start beating them down, and Mastodon comes in on this fucking soundtrack.
It's great, dude.
It's and how Bill is like. Way bigger than Ted.
Yeah.
Like, and he's got that tiny head. And he's just like, amazing.
Right.
So I mean, like, so similar to the second one, with the robot interacting, like they were like, the more Bill and Ted, the better. So they put that in there, and the fact that they hate each other is great. They hate themselves is great. Yeah. And then what's it called? The idea of what I said. The second one felt like just like set pieces that they strung together that like were cool, but it was meandering. This one actually did feel like it had momentum. Like it had the lessons they learned from the first one. Like Nick, you said it. It was like both of the first and second one mashed into a movie, and it worked. Like
how freaking great was Dennis?
Should we talk about
the robot?
No, Dennis the robot was his.
Oh my God! Yes. What's his name? Barry from
Barry. They have Death in here, and they have to introduce a new character that's similar to Death, but even dumber than Death.
I thought it was Nick Schwartzman at first.
I did too. I thought that's who it was at first too, but no, it was not. Anthony Carradine.
Yeah, it's the dude from Barry.
From Barry. Yeah.
He was like he played essentially the same character, which is like. But
I love when he starts.
He's a great actor.
He starts to break when his character starts to break a little bit. It's just no.
You feel so bad for him, man. Yeah. Like you're like it's okay. You killed all these people.
Shoot himself.
That's right. He blows his own head off. Yeah, honestly, like now I want to go back and rewatch it a second time because
I watched it twice over the weekend.
Okay, because I was literally on the fence. So I'm telling you guys, like 2/3 of the way through, and let's wrap this whole episode up by talking about how the ending. If you had done this same film maybe 5 or 10 years ago, it would not have landed as well because we're in such a fucked up moment right now,
right?
Where all you want people is to be excellent to each other and party on, and like. Right. The message of music being what
this film
binds us all together.
Way hard. Yeah, and music as the universal language that can bring everybody together.
Celebration and love.
And in such a silly, stupid series, it lands it when it lands it at the end, and it lands it so well. And you're like fuck. It made you feel really
Dude,
good.
I got teary.
Yeah, me too. I was like a little teared up.
I was like, I need a little bit of fucking love right now, man.
As a middle-aged parent, I totally related to it too.
Yeah.
And it was so stupid that one of my favorite jokes was actually like the smartest thing in the whole movie was they kept dropping in actual like quantum science. And
yes.
And explaining how
you give like a Star Trek episode.
Kid Cudi,
yeah.
Kid Cudi was the station of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea, like, how can you justify these guys saving the world or the universe, like everything? How do you justify that? Well, it turns out if you can get everybody playing, it's like one song is never going to do it. But the idea is it doesn't matter. The song doesn't matter. It's the idea of everybody working together, everybody
and singing,
like enjoying
and playing,
together and playing together.
Playing the same song.
I buy that. I bought it. I was like, okay, I can believe that these numbnuts saved the fucking universe.
Not only is it, and it does it so smartly because they're like, oh, they go and tell,
and their daughters do it.
Everybody. Yeah, and they're talking about like, okay, we're talking about C minor, in 166 beats per minute. Like that's it. And then everybody just it's just like
so we're gonna wrap this up.
Plays the same chord.
Yeah, by reading. So let's read. This is what they said. This is what you sent over to me, Nick. From I think this is from the Reddit interview. They said, what inspired you and the other writers to make music so central to Bill and Ted 3? Obviously, being rock stars who unite the world through song was the central premise in the first two movies, but it was secondary to actual shenanigans that ensued. So Ed Solomon says, well, the phrase face the music always felt thematically what it was, looking at your mortality and seriously questioning what it is that you're proudest of leaving on this planet. And since it hadn't worked out for them, it seemed only natural that this would be the theme. You're totally right. The rock stars who unite the world thing was an afterthought. The rest of the movie was all there first. I love that.
That's great.
Like, it truly like the afterthought they actually had to finish. It's like my frustration with like the J.J. Abrams of the world or the Lindelofs, whatever, where they have great ideas and concepts that they build these worlds around, but they never actually have to answer any fucking questions. And to give Solomon credit, like those guys did a better job than them because they actually answered their question. That never happens in Hollywood films, man. Like, and it rarely happens in films in general.
And that's, I think that's why this is the Bill and Ted Face the Music is my favorite of the franchise. Because it gives me the best of both of the first two movies.
Yeah.
And does it in a way that's like, there's so much love in this film. Like you can tell, you can feel it in the writing, you can feel it in the performances. And the fact is 29 years later is so fucking ridiculous.
But isn't timing and everything though? Like I said, there's no way that this film would have resonated if you made it. And now this is the film we need right now.
But it's also not gonna. It's only the budget was 25, which is not much. But it's only made 1.5 over the weekend.
Yeah, but
not. I mean, good for VOD by and large.
That's
just
only
wait
box office, dude. That's not video on demand. That's only box office.
I think the VOD was included in that.
Just wait, though, guys. So here's my theory on what's going to happen with post-pandemic. So I'm going to do an article about this, by the way, about the changing theater system. And so what's going to happen is they're going to re-release Bill and Ted's 1, 2, and 3 in the theaters, and we're all going to go see it and shell out a bunch of fucking money when theaters can go again. This is what people are so stupid with not releasing things online because you can make money now. It's like it used to be theater than video. Now it's like people show up for an event. So so nobody's seen Bill and Ted's really as much in the theaters. So you re-release it, you throw on some fucking extras, you do like a documentary at the beginning of it, you show in the theaters, and you'll make even more fucking boku bucks. So don't cry for the assholes who funded this thing. Like my whole theory is that once COVID is kicked and people are the vaccine, whatever, or however it plays out, when people go back to the theater again, they're going to be able to do what theaters are becoming anyway, which are events. It's not about the new releases. It's about an experience. and Bill and Ted's will get, I can guarantee you, people will show up for a Bill and Ted's, screening. Do a double feature.
For me, it's easily the best movie watching experience I've had this year.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
The casting of those musicians was on point too.
Yeah,
I loved what they did with them.
Yeah, it was great. There's a lot of little bits where I was like, oh my god, they nailed it. Like they did an awesome job.
The whole New Orleans bit was legit.
Awesome. Yeah.
Can I throw another critique at you guys though? Musicians fucking hate each other, and they're such egomaniacs. And I did a documentary on some Cuban jazz trumpeter who Louis Armstrong hated. Like, these guys all fucking hate each other. So the fact that they'd all get together and play is actually kind of ridiculous. I was like, you're telling me
not
that
in this,
that
not in the Bill and Ted version.
You're right, I should shut up. But in reality, Jimi Hendrix they would have fucking hated each other.
Well,
anyway.
if this movie was reality, it would have sucked because it just really blows right now, dude. I don't know if you know.
I know. Give me a little Bill and Ted's reality right now.
Yeah, Bill and Ted get COVID.
Yeah.
Hey.
Speaking of which, the old Bill and Ted were awesome too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
they were great.
I thought what was going to happen. Somebody thankfully told me to watch through the end. I thought Eddie Van Halen was going to show up in the old folks' home and fucking jam with them.
Yeah.
So
do we want to get to our
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
Yeah, there's a reason he wasn't in the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we want to get to our dream team, sir?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, we got to do this.
Let's wrap it up with the dream team.
Wrap it up. We're at an hour, so we're doing good on. So here, let me bring it up so we can see. Hold on.
Let me start.
Nick, you go first.
And then I'll see if I can dig up a couple responses from people. But, it's one of those things as far as the dream team goes. Like, if you're going to spend like $15 on this and like, part of me is I can't help it. I overthink everything. So I'm like, well, what am I going back to? What am I going to go do? What do I want to do?
I think the mission is important.
Right? So my mission was, I said, I'm going to go back. I'm going to take Rufus with me, and I'm going to take Samara Weaving,
Billy.
Billy.
Why not?
Right. I was trying to Billy Theo. I can't remember. I'm a little baked right now. And then I'm going to take Joan of Arc. There's not a lot of female choices. And then I'm taking Jimi Hendrix. And we're all going to go back to 1991 London, and we're going to go see Bill Hicks do Revelations, except there's going to be a surprise opening set by Jimi fucking Hendrix and George Carlin, and I get to hang in the audience with the two chicks. That's what I'm going to do.
Dude, that's fucking killer. I mean, my mind, we'll see. You can see our different personalities when I tell you what I had in mind, but that's killer. I'm like, I want to tag along on that trip. Tom,
totally.
Did you have a response?
I'm gonna go with Billy the Kid, Genghis Khan, Socrates, Station, and Napoleon, and we're gonna go back to the Monsters of Rock concert in Moscow when Pantera and Metallica were headlining, and we're gonna rock the fuck out.
It's good.
That
like
works.
That. Yeah. See, I was thinking logically. I wasn't thinking about what the mission was. I was thinking about just if I had to go on any mission, who would I want on my side? You're gonna want Rufus just because he's knowledgeable of the future. You're going to want Billy I think Billy's probably the most level-headed out of the group. The robot, I'm thinking Dennis, simply because you're going to want that kind of security, I suppose. And then Station, because he can freaking do anything. But also, if you go back in time and you bring an alien with you, that could be a problem.
Yeah, shit could get weird with that crew.
Yeah.
So mine was straight up fucking domination. I was like, this world needs saving right now, especially this country. So I was like, give me death. I'll take Abe Lincoln. Actually, or Napoleon. Shit. I'll take Napoleon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Napoleon.
Abe. Genghis Khan and Station. Oh, wait, no, I had Jimmy in there because I need somebody to play the Imperial Death March.
Yeah, you need.
So Jimmy playing the Imperial Death March with Death, Napoleon, and Genghis Khan. And oh no, I need Station too.
Station.
Did I have enough money for
Station? No, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. You don't have to do the math now.
Yeah.
All right, get rid of Napoleon. It's Station,
and
Death,
Genghis Khan,
and Genghis Khan.
And then Jimmy just
Jimi
rocking
Hendrix,
out,
yeah.
dong, 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 and he would put all his little flair on it. Oh, it'd be sick. We'd conquer. Anyway.
So I'm looking in the comments here on Facebook. I got Karen says Ted because Keanu.
Right. Well, I can't argue that.
Death so I can make fun of him. Station because he's got a great ass. That's all I need.
He's gonna get dumper.
We're gonna hit
well,
the
Death
future
has a
for
great
stronger
ass too.
pot, she said.
It is only going to get stronger.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that at all, especially Keanu. I mean, the question is with Keanu, with Ted, do you get John Wick as like and Neo as like a package deal?
Well, there's a fan theory that John Wick is what happened to Ted if he did get sent to military school.
I like that theory.
Right, I did see that. I did see that on there.
He kind of looked a little John Wickish in this new one. He had kind of the
ready to film the next one.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you
he's a little weathered, you know.
And honestly, the Sans
not
beard,
weathered, but like somber, yeah.
But the Sans beard, like he looks so much.
It worked.
The beard, he's like a little bit scary. You're crossing to the other side of the street. Without beard, it's Keanu. You want to give him a hug. So.
Right.
He doesn't get hugs. He doesn't even touch.
Yeah. Oh, I don't.
He holds his arm out. He doesn't even touch you in his photos. He's really respectful.
He's a sweetheart. All right, guys. I think we did it. I think we covered Bill and Ted's.
It's the most excellent franchise in the end.
Definitely
totally one that's worth revisiting on multiple occasions. And now we have a real well done, completed ending to it, so you can watch them all back to back and probably have a blast.
Will we see Billy and Thea in a?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I hope so. It would be. I mean, if it
I
makes
hope
it
so.
fun,
They were great. They were so much fun.
There should be an opportunity to explore them as actual characters, which should be fun as well. Like, let's see where they can go with that in this new Brave New World.
Maybe in a sitcom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like a HBO Max, dude.
Streaming show. Like right.
So should we tease up what's coming up? We have what's the next?
We are going to do in 2 weeks. I believe that is
all avant-garde cinema from here on in.
We're going to do an episode on Westerns. And we have a special guest that should be joining us on that episode. We got to lock everything in, but we have secrets. Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a special guest on there, someone that's close to the Westerns and may have fallen off a horse.
And we have lots of in October. We're gonna have lots of fun horror stuff coming up to celebrate Halloween. So yeah, more to come.
For sure.
Please, follow us. Oh, here, I'm gonna pop up my.
We're gonna be bringing on guests, some new faces that may or may not turn into bits. But
sorry,
Helly's working on some stuff. Right.
So here's my stuff. You can follow me at Luconian Logic. How do we follow you guys? What's your on Twitter? I'm Luconian Logic, as well as on Instagram. Tom, how do we follow you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but I don't use Twitter much. Tom Curly CAS is my Instagram.
And Curly Sound on Twitter, right?
At Curly Sound is Twitter, yeah. And then Facebook is just my name.
And Jeff, how do we find you?
I believe I'm Jeff P. Heller on Twitter.
Yeah.
I tend to not go on a whole lot unless I'm retweeting our stuff.
I also have a MySpace account and
fuck it, let's just all go back to MySpace.
You can find us. It's CompuServe message board.
Right. It's easy to find us if you go to @ScreenRater on Twitter. And you can easily find Screen Raider on Facebook if you haven't already. And you can find me there. We're not hard to find. Look for Screen Raider on all your favorite places and the YouTubes and all that shit.
All right.
See you guys in a couple weeks.
Station.
Station.